Welcome back to the On Deck Circle podcast brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your very cold host here in the Northeast, Nick Zaniboni, and I'm with my very good friend, Jason. Jason, how cold is it in Chicago?
This morning we woke up to a temperature of -8 degrees this morning.
How do you commute to work? Are you like a driver to work?
Yeah, so I currently go to the office once a week.
Okay.
Got that hybrid lifestyle, and yeah, I drive to work.
Yeah, so I have to walk about 20 minutes to the train.
Ooh.
And then from the train to work is about another 15, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And I'm fine with the morning commute because the cold will wake me up a bit.
Yeah.
What I do not love is when I get home because I do that same walk and then I get home and then I have to take my dog out. So it's just like another 20 minutes outside in the cold. So that is my complaints for the day.
That's that apartment life, man.
It is truly the city living, which I thoroughly enjoy being the city boy, but whoo boy, these winters.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're back. It's been a couple weeks. I believe we're talking some catchers today. But before we get to some catchers, I do want to do my cold open question of the week. And it's going to start with a little bit of gloating, Jason. So please humor me for a little bit.
Okay.
These very airwaves, maybe 3 weeks ago, I said Alex Bregman to the Boston Red Sox to play second base. People laughed at me. They scoffed. They said, no, he's going back to the Astros. No, he's going to the Cubs. Oh, don't. It's going to be the Tigers. No, he went to the Red Sox because he was always going to come to the Red Sox. Is he going to play second base? I don't actually know that, but that has been the report. Unfortunately, Rafael Devers not play third, whatever. I want to know if you've ever had a prediction, whether it be free agency or something, it could just be any prediction in life that you were 100% correct on. All right? Ready, set, go. All right, Jason, what do we got?
Easy peasy. I think it was I want to say it was the 2022 season. Even put my money where my mouth is and predicted Ohtani as MVP. A little bit of an easier task nowadays, but back then he had not won an MVP yet, and I called that one. I think I got him at plus 1,000. So
wow, attaboy.
Yeah,
Jason. Like that. Unfortunately, I don't think I could have bet on the Bregman thing, but maybe I could have. I guess I just didn't look through the tabs too much.
But yeah, good call on you, man. I remember it was definitely like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We still were talking about free agency and where some of these guys were going to end up, and you said, "I'll watch this. I'm going to call it Bregman to the Red Sox,
second base."
And there's a good possibility that he does go to second base, but we'll see on that as time goes on. We always text back and forth, and I knew the text was coming because both the Cubs and the Red Sox were finalists or supposed finalists on Bregman. I really wanted Bregman. You texted me Bregman to the Red Sox, and I was less than polite on my response back because I was upset in the moment. But yeah, and then I saw the contract, and I feel a little bit less bad because you guys just made Alex Bregman the fourth highest paid player per year.
Anyway, yeah, that's fine
in baseball, which is a little absurd. Money. And that's my point too. Is I don't if everyone complains about these things, especially baseball is the least sport to complain about salary because there's no salary cap. But yeah, it's not my money. I just thought that was kind of crazy. I guess that was the only way to get him to actually come there, which was kind of crazy too because he had multiple teams buying for him, and he took the most money. So
Yeah, and it's also what sucks is it's basically a 1-year deal
Yeah.
because if he's as good as he can be, then he's probably going to leave and get a long-term deal, like a 5-year contract from the Cubs or the Tigers or one of these other teams. So I'm really just hoping that I think this is just kind of I feel like Chicago fans are the same way. I like to believe that people enjoy playing for the Red Sox
Yeah.
because it's the Red Sox. Same thing for like the Celtics. I'm like, oh yeah, he'll stay forever because it's sick to be a Celtic.
Yeah.
I think people buy into the Wrigley. I think people buy into the Fenway. So I'm kind of just banking on the lore of the Red Sox to hold on though.
Yeah. And my one concern now going as from a Cubs fan is I don't have much faith in a Kyle Tucker extension. If you're not going to shell out money to sign Bregman, I don't know if that shows much eagerness to sign Tucker to a long-term deal, and that kind of upsets me because now I would love for that to happen. And I don't think that's going to happen long-term. I saw another article come out, and I love Ken Rosenthal for doing this, just bashing the Cubs ownership, and I'm all here for it. Don't come at us and tell us you're breaking even when you're in the third largest network or market in the country, and you're breaking even. And basically, arguably, probably the second most nationally loved franchise, right? Like you probably got like the Yankees and then the Cubs when it comes to national recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So don't tell me you're breaking even. You can't afford to pay these players. You're just greedy. You want all your money to yourself. But whatever.
Yeah.
That's another topic. We can stop talking about our homer teams for a little bit here. This weekend, we are going to be talking about the catcher position preview. We're going to give you a little bit of some redraft content as well as everyone's favorite Dynasty content. Stay to the end. We got some prospects to talk about. But before we get into the catchers, let's get a little bit of some business out of the way here. If you're not playing fantasy baseball on Fantrax right now, I don't know what you're doing. Fantrax is the leading option in the industry for fantasy baseball, not just redraft or Dynasty. We got best ball. They got everything over there at Fantrax. And not only is it super user-friendly, the customization is through the roof. You can pretty much do anything you want. If you can't, you can always just email their customer support and they can help you out and get your league set up exactly how you want. So go on over to fantrax.com/fantasy six-pack. Either start up a new league or move your current league over there. Super, super awesome site. I love playing on it. I know you love playing on it. Dynasty players love playing on it. So move your league over there today. All right. As always, we usually have we just get a couple guys. This week we're gonna do a little bit different. We're gonna do sleepers, busts, breakouts, and prospects.
Yes, sir.
And I think it's always apropos to start off with our sleepers. Why don't you go ahead and start with your guy here first? I'm going to go with JT Realmuto.
It's very funny to talk about this guy and call him a sleeper because he's kind of just been like the guy for the last maybe like 10 years. Like it might not actually be 10. But Realmuto is currently going. Hold on one second. I just had his ADP up, you little. He is the 10th catcher going after pick 150. And I'm not saying that there's not better catchers than Realmuto, but what I am saying is just the value is so good. Like on ESPN, he's going close to 200. Like that's nuts. You have guys going ahead of him, like even like a Will Smith, who is granted he's better than JT is. I'm fully aware of that, but you're picking him almost 100 spots more. And that's just crazy to me. So you can get this guy late in your drafts and you can pick up extra hitters because catching more than likely not going to win you your league. It's not. Even if you have like a Willson Contreras or Adley Rushman, I don't think a catcher is going to make you win your league at all. So thank you for pulling this up. He was hurt last year. Easily could have had 20 homers. Just the numbers are so great. He's in a great lineup, you've got Harper, you got Schwarber, you got all these other guys in Philly. As I was doing my research, they're talking extension for this guy. And most of all, which I love, he doesn't even play catcher all of the time, which is even better because of the injury risk. And especially because, as you can see, he is 33, which is hilarious because I'm now 31. And I'm like, he's an old guy. He's one of those old catchers. So he's someone I'm definitely buying at the price. I think I'd rather stack up on a couple more outfielders earlier in the draft and get JT a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I pull up this StatCast page just kind of look at here. Look, if you look at the expected stats versus what he actually did, he deserves to do better. And he still hit 14 bombs last year and only 380 plate appearance, or sorry, at bats, 413 plate appearances. Still got on base over 300 to 322. The OPS is at 751. Not awful for a catcher. Just regarding the catcher position, he's basically as good of a steal as you can get here at this point. You would say after pick 150 or around 150.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's 10th round and 15 teamers, and then even later for the 12 team league. So definitely a catcher to keep an eye out. I think a lot of times people see the age. People get like prospect fatigue. I feel like people sometimes get player fatigue and like, oh, JT Realmuto again. He's 33, but yeah, you're right. He's been in the league since 2015. So yeah, talking about 10 years now. So I think you're right. I think a lot of people just kind of see that name and they just want to brush him off. But this is a great name for the back end of your draft if you miss out on the first top. Catchers are kind of like tight ends to me when it comes to fantasy football. Exactly. If you can't get like the top 2 or 3, just wait and get one of the guys at the end.
Yeah.
It's your best bet because most of them they're in this blob and they're not really worth that much. So go on here to my guy. Next guy here, it's going to be Jonah Heim of the Texas Rangers. Our buddy Uncle Ted in the chat here kind of took my mojo here. Says, wow, only facing righties this year, could at 275 with 14 bombs. I'm all in on Jonah Heim. Had a really good year in 2023. A little bit of a downtick in 2024, but I think that's because, he gets a little bit more exposed and he's going to be going back to a platoon role here possibly in 2025. But the 2023 numbers were awesome. Slash 258, 317, 438, and had 95 RBIs with a sub 20% K rate. The lineup around him still really solid. He still gets to hit behind guys like Evan Carter, Jake Berger. So it's going to be protection. Right now he's scheduled to hit out of the 9th hole. So there's a bunch of, obviously, the lineup rolls around after him. So the RBIs and run opportunities will be there. He's still a switch hitter. So you don't have to worry about any like the splits. But I really like what I saw out of him in 2023. Had him in a couple leagues in 2024. A little bit of a downfall of disappointment. But hey, right now he's being taken as a 23rd catcher off the board. So basically the back end of the second catcher in a 2-catcher league. He's going behind guys like Joey Bart, Bo Naylor, Ryan Jeffers, all of which I think he'll outperform in 2025. And I'd much rather have Jonah Heim over those guys. And he's being drafted outside the top 300. So even in 1-catcher leagues, I think he's definitely serviceable, especially if you're getting him outside the top 300. 2-catcher leagues, it's a no-brainer. I'm all in on Jonah Heim again for 2025. I think we see him go kind of back to that 2023 numbers. And even again, 2024 was not no slouch season either for a catcher. So I am all in on Jonah Heim for 2025.
I love that one because, again, like you said, 2 years ago, he was borderline a top 5 to 8 catcher, would you say?
Yeah, I was going to say like top 10 or 12 or something like that.
So you're going to be able to possibly have that. And he's not far removed. Like sometimes you just have a bad year. And if you're able to get even 3/4 of what he was in 2023 at where he's going, it's a complete win. So I absolutely love this one, Jason.
Yeah, awesome. All right, let's go on to the next person here. First, before we do that, we're going to check out some if you're not want to get access to content like this, our rankings over at the website, you get tons of great articles. We got Dynasty rankings, prospect rankings. We got a ton of great content on our Discord, including personalized questions, sub channels where you can kind of go in there and do some Q&A and get some, specific advice to your league. You got to do so, but doing all that by becoming a member today. You can go on over to fansixpack.net/plans. Sign up to become a pro member today, and you won't regret it. We'll get you on those winning teams and get you some money for sure. All right, well, those are our sleepers. Let's get into our busts now. Start off with your guy here. Talk about a little about Cal Raleigh.
All right. Again, this is going to be me adding context because someone's going to see this and be like, oh, Nick says Cal Raleigh's not good, because that is not the case. He is an amazing power bat. But like I kind of said with the Realmuto piece, it was just where he's going. He's a top 80 pick, and it's just not there for me. You're losing the OBP, you're losing average if you're in an average league, but he's a top 5 catcher currently, and there is just so many more guys after him that I would prefer. And then I was just looking at the hitters in general, the guys that are going behind, and thank you. You're seeing a lot of red there because the guy can hit the ball. He really can. He's a hell of a hitter. But you want to know who else I would rather have going after him? A little bit of Lawrence Butler of the Oakland Athletic or the Sacramento A's, whatever the hell you want to call him. Brenton Doyle going after him. Alex Bregman going after him. Junior Caminero going after him. Jordan Westbrook going after him. These are guys that I would easily pick up before I drafted Cal Raleigh. So it's not the player. It's more the position of where he's being drafted. So again, like we see here, the guy's going to hit you at least 25 home runs. He really is. But he's going to hit maybe under 230. So It's just kind of like a give and take. Like if you have if your outfield is like a Brian Reynolds, Stephen Kwan, guys that get on base and don't have that power, pair them with a Cal Raleigh, and that's fine. But I just don't love buying into just the power here because of where he's being drafted and who you could have other than him. Both as a catcher, you can have the Realmuto maybe 100 picks later, and then you can pick up 2 other bats that can be just as good, if not better than Cal.
Yeah, one of my favorite things when it comes to all fantasies. I don't hate players that hate ADPs. This ADP has just got way too inflated. You want to talk about a true 3-outcome hitter? That's Cal Raleigh. He either walks, strikeouts, or hits a home run. Even his batting average is right in line basically with his batting average, so he's not going to get a ton of, obviously hit for great average. And then even then, his 11% walk rate, he's still only getting on base at a 312 clip. So even the walks are a bit of a stretch here when it comes to Cal Raleigh. So, again, this could be, you want to maybe pair him up with somebody else. Someone's going to kind of inflate the batting average or the OBP in some other areas and use him for the power. I'm all for it, but not at pick 85 overall. We talked about that now. Like, you're not going to be able to get, I'd much rather have other guys from that same range than Cal Raleigh, a catcher. We just talked about 2 guys that you can wait almost 100 picks later, if not 200 picks later, and get not quite as much as the home run power, but you'll get more of the 4 tool hitters versus the 1 basically tool hitter in Cal Raleigh. So I'm all in on this as a bust for Cal Raleigh for sure. Jump over to my guy here. Before I get into this guy though, we did not discuss.
This is hilarious.
I know. I didn't even think about this when you sent it to me, and then I started writing in the banners today, and I'm like, wait a minute, these almost go. This guy and the next guy go hand in hand, but I don't care. I already did all the research, and I looked into this guy, and it's already supplanted my flag on Willson Contreras as my bust this year. I just don't see it anymore. A little bit of a cheat code though, because he is moving off the catcher position, but he is still catcher eligibility for 2025. Therefore, he's in my catcher bust position. They are going to move him a little bit more to first base and DH for the 2025 season, obviously, because he's basically not always hurt, but he's hurt a lot. He can't stay on the field. Probably a lot of that is those aging knees. I think he's into his 33-year-old, 30. He's definitely over 30, I think, at this point. But right now he's being drafted as a top 5 catcher and inside the top 100. Kind of like what we kind of talked about with Cal Raleigh. And I just don't think he's going to give you that ROI on that ADP right now that you're looking for. I don't think he's even a top 10 catcher at the end of the season. Again, he's starting to hit his wall. He is soon to be 33 years old. Starting to see his production start to regress. He just hit one of his lowest home run totals in his career, which is 15 and 24. Don't get me wrong, it was also in an injury-shortened season, but the quality contact is down. He just had his second worst K rate of his career, which was also up 5% last year. He struck out 30% of the time, basically. I think it was like 28%. His 35% whiff rate ranked only in the second percentile. The chase rate is also really bad. I just don't foresee the turnaround coming here, especially being drafted as a top 5 catcher. I'm out on that ADP on Willson Contreras.
Instead of me touching on Willson Contreras, can I just explain my reason while going into the next segment? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my breakout.
Well, why don't we just get right into it then?
Yeah, let's just go directly into it. My man, Ivan Herrera. I have been obsessed with this guy for maybe like 3 years, and I'm just like, he just needs an opportunity. Just needs an opportunity. And what happened last year, Jason? My boy got the opportunity. And what did he do with it? He was fantastic. Hit over 300, OBP over 370, only 5 home runs. That's fine. Five stolen bases. Give me that out of a catcher any day of the week. I think that this guy can easily get 15 jacks and maybe 10 stolen bases. And for where he's being drafted currently, let me just quadruple check this. Catcher. You would think. He is currently being picked as catcher number 20 at pick 290. Let's just call that pick 300.
Yep.
This is my absolute steal of your 2 catcher drafts. He's a catcher number 1. You can win your league if Ivan Herrera is your catcher number 1. It's not going to hurt you. So definitely someone that I have been monitoring. I think he's going to get the majority of the starts now. And this is just something I did want to throw out as well. When we first came up with this, I think we talked about doing catcher episode like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
I saw a tweet online, and it had a trade of Ivan Herrera going to the Red Sox with Nolan Arenado. And I was so excited because I was like, if I get to waltz in and talk about Ivan Herrera, being like, he's on the Red Sox now, that'd be great.
Yeah.
My only concern with Herrera is that it's St. Louis. It's kind of a situation. He's not the best at the catching part of being a catcher.
Yeah.
As in, he's not great at like defense. He doesn't call games in the best way. So they just need to get his bat in the lineup, and I trust the bat more than I distrust the defense. So I think he's going to be the dude for them for this upcoming season. They do have another catcher coming up that I actually also like, which I almost put as my prospect. I think it's Jimmy Crooks, and it's just a sick name. So also just as a flyer, just take a look into Jimmy Crooks. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking I was a season too early on Ivan Herrera. I called him out last year as a breakout. I don't know if it was on this show or if it was in one of my breakout articles. I'm a huge Ivan Herrera fan. I know what it was. I think I put him in one of the top prospects to consider for 2025. Again, a year early. He did get a little bit of playing time last year. I think this year he kind of gets into that full-time role, or at least a half split-time role compared to what he had in 2024. I'm all in on Ivan Herrera as a breakout this year.
It's very funny that you had Contreras.
I know.
Because we genuinely do not talk about who our guys are.
Right. And then they kind of correlate with each other, right? Ivan Herrera is going to start taking over catching duties as Willson Contreras vacates the catching duties. So they kind of go hand in hand, and I'm all right with that because, again, we didn't really correlate those together until I just looked it up this afternoon. All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about my guy here. Now, this one's going to pain you a little bit, so brace yourself. It's Austin Wells for the Yankees. We already saw a little bit of a mini breakout in 2024. He slashed 229, 322, 395 in his first full season. The power's legit, but it was a little modest last year. He only had 14 home runs and 414 plate appearances. He did have 15 home runs every year at the minor league level, though, so the power is there. Just need to kind of tap into a little more. I think with a little bit more at bats, we'll definitely get to see that 15 to 20 home run ability. Doesn't strike out a ton. Walks a solid rate as well. Sprays the ball to all fields. His expected batting stats suggest that he should have had an even better year than he did last year. He was in the running for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, that didn't win that, but still is in a very solid lineup with the Yankees. I think he should see a great 2025 season. He's currently being drafted as the 14th catcher off the board and just inside the top 200 overall. So, again, a little bit of inflation on that ADP, probably because of the somewhat successful 2024 season, but I think we see him take even another forward step in 2025 and can really supplant himself as even a top 10 catcher going for 2026.
Fuck the Yankees.
I knew when I picked the guy, I'm like, oh yeah, Nick will love this one.
Yeah. No,
hey, you picked the Cardinals, so it's all fair in love and war. So
that's fair. That's fair.
All right, before we get into our prospects here, let's get on and talk about the Fantasy Six-Pack Series. This is a great opportunity for any fantasy baseball lover out there. You can join up today. It's free to play. You get to play not only against a bunch of your peers and the other fellow fantasy baseball fans, you also get to play a bunch of industry folks as well. Think TGFBI, the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational, except it's open to everybody, not just industry folks. It's always been a great turnout. The biggest thing this year is we're going from a daily lineup to a weekly lineup, which I'm all for. If you're like us, I'm sure you're in like 5+ leagues. It's hard to monitor, kind of hard to monitor and where you need to, prioritize some of your leagues. And so what better way than I'm now up to like 3 weekly leagues and I'm all for it. I love the weekly league, not only because it's less maintenance, it's also more strategy. I think it gives more in-season strategy than a daily league. Anyone can just go into their league, especially if there's no minimums or maximums on the innings pitched or the plate appearances. If you have to strategize your weekly lineup based on who's a 2-star pitcher, who's going to get more home at bats, things like that, I think that complements the fantasy baseball player versus the daily one that can just go in there and plug in their holes every week on Mondays and Thursdays on guys that aren't playing. So huge difference this year is a weekly lineup. So get on over to fantasysixpack.net/fantasy six-pack series. Sign up today. You can compete against all of us, and it's always a great time. So, all right, before we end out this episode, let's get into our prospects, everyone's favorite thing. You know what I really wish we had, which we don't anymore, is that Dave sound effect where it was like down on the farm. Yeah, we need to like remake that or something. That was always a classic. But why don't you go ahead and talk about your guy first? You want to talk about Daulton Rushing?
Yeah, so this is also kind of I think with catchers, you kind of need to have that little kind of cheat. I think last year my cheat was Henry Davis because I was like, he's going to play the outfield. Unfortunately, Henry Davis stunk last year.
Yeah.
But who I'm going to talk about here is Daulton Rushing of the Dodgers. He's going to be someone that I think they're just going to find a spot for because the bat is so great.
Or trade mid-season.
Or trade mid-season, exactly. Maybe defer some more money and get an absolute superstar for no reason.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's like, hold on. How do I can't present, can I?
Maybe not. I don't know how to do those permissions.
Okay, don't worry about it. I'll just go over it. He was the 84th percentile in barrel percentage. That's one of these I also miss when we used to do the advanced stat and you guys would teach me about advanced stats. Barrel percentage is one that I'm kind of looking at this season just because I think that really is a good sign of if you're a good hitter or not, because you know how to swing the bat. Obviously, everyone can swing a bat, but like the 80+ in barrel percentage rating is something I'm really looking at this year. And I could be wrong about it. It's very likely I'm wrong about it. But last year, he just really impressed me with basically a 400 OBP. He hit over 270. Only 9 homers, but again, the bat plays because he hits the ball. What's WOBA? Weighted on base average?
Yeah. WOBA.
His WOBA was 392. That's fantastic from what I hear. And yeah, he walks a lot. He doesn't strike out a lot. What's not to like? Obviously, this is kind of like, oh, well, yeah, he's like the top rated catcher. I don't care though, because I think we're going to see him this year. We're going to see him in the outfield. We're going to see him wherever the Dodgers need him. Because if we're being honest, the outfield for the Dodgers could be better, like names wise. And I think that Rushing could be that guy at some point.
Nice. Yeah, no, I like it. Like I said, I think Dodgers, for whatever reason, don't like to hold on to their homegrown talent. Something tells me he'll be traded mid-season for some injury replacement of some sort, or just another piece that they need to add onto their already super loaded team. So I would think that at this point, and if he sticks around, even better, because that lineup's insane. So maybe they stick him in the lineup when someone gets hurt or whatnot. So Daulton Rushing's been a guy on the radar for a while now, and I think he's ready to actually start to make some fantasy relevance here going forward in 2025. So I love it. Next guy here I'm going to talk about is someone that's a little bit more lesser known, but I still think is going to start rising up some of these rankings, and it's Josue Briceno of the Detroit Tigers. He was one of the top international signees in the 2022 draft class. He's had some pretty good success since coming over stateside here, albeit a little bit more of a small sample size. Didn't really get to play too much in the 2022, and then 2023 only really appeared in the Complex League. However, at his time in the Complex League, he slashed 325, 404, 550 with 40 runs and 37 RBIs as an 18-year-old. Then this last year is when I really started to take notice, and that was in the Arizona Fall League that just happened. As only an 18-year-old, slashed 433, 509, 867 with 10 home runs, 27 RBIs, and only 90 plate appearances in the Arizona Fall League.
Decent.
Which is just absurd. Because if you follow baseball, you know the Arizona Fall League is usually a lot of like top tier prospects, so a little bit more advanced competition than a complex league. And he actually did better against the more advanced competition than when he did in the complex league. Again, I think this is one of those guys who's going to start seeing a little bit more, depending on what happens here in 2025. I think we start to see him rise up prospect lists, especially for catchers. 2 catcher leagues, you should be all over this guy. You should definitely be on roster at this point. Still only 18, so we still got a few years where we actually see him make an appearance. But I'm all over Josue Briceno going forward here for the prospects.
Have you noticed just how many prospects are in like top 100 prospects lists? It is full of them. And I'm just very confused by it because I also understand that people don't look at it through a fantasy lens. Like I'm talking like MLB pipelines, top 100 prospects. I think there's like 12 catchers. It's just like a ridiculous amount. But you know what? I'm interested in this, Mr. Josue Briceno.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's gonna start jumping up lists this year. I think right now he's 6'4", 200 pounds. Now whether he stays behind the dish or not, that's to be seen. But as of right now, there's no indication that he's not going to come out from behind the plate. So I'd grab him while you can. He has made some appearances for the low A. Again, super good success at those low A for Florida State League. So I'm all in on him, man. I think after I saw what he did in the Arizona Fall League this past year in 2024, I'm in, man. I'm buying in on him.
There is 10 catchers in the MLB pipeline.
Wow, that's actually kind of shocking.
That's 10%. I'm just because we have a couple minutes, I'm just going to run through them. Yeah. Kyle Teal, that's the first catcher.
Okay.
Oh, no. Daulton Rushing, that's the first catcher. Teal, Ethan Salas. Sure. I don't think he's going to be a player, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. Jefferson Quero, Blake Mitchell. 2 of these guys are Royals. Drake Baldwin, Harry Ford, Edgar Quero, Moises Ballesteros. And then we scroll down again. Thairo Lazario. The Tigers have another guy here.
Yeah.
Carter Jensen. Eduardo Tate, who's someone that I found last year, which is fun. And that's it. That's 11. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's
I just
more-
quickly looked up Brisenko's. So basically in his career in the minor league right now, again, it's the low minor, so take it for what it's worth. But he's got around a full season. He's got 139 games, 583 plate appearances, so definitely like a full season for a catcher. Slash 283, 367, 439, got an 806 OPS, 13 home runs, 76 RBIs, only 99 strikeouts. I mean, what more do you want from your catcher, right? I mean, those are great numbers. Those can translate to the upper minors and then even to the bigs.
Fully on board with this guy. I'm going to try and get him everywhere.
Right, I love it. I love it. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our catcher preview position preview for catcher. Anything else before we get out of here? I think we might have something special planned next week. I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah,
and
I'm
put
not
the pressure
sure.
on.
I don't know yet.
I believe next week we do have something special planned, so you definitely want to come back and catch that.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, no, that's the wrong league. I was like, he's a free agent in this league. I'm in.
No, he was depending on how deep your league was, he may have even been a first-year player draft pick a couple years ago. He was a J2 signing, so
yeah,
I think he was one of the higher ranked J2 signings back in 2022. So we'll see. Check it out.
Question: have you started Love Is Blind yet?
It's funny is my wife was just asking me about this before. She said, "Oh, my friend's already 6 episodes in, and we haven't started it yet."
All right, get started. Opening segment of the next show. We're talking LIB.
Let's do it, baby.
LIB on ODC.
I love it.
Ooh.